program for you. So, and as a reminder, if you have any questions about the program, feel free to email me at lauren@communityfinders.com. And we will also be leaving the room open at the end of the session for up to additional 30 minutes so that you can chat with each other. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Iris.
Thank you, Lauren. Yeah, welcome to June 18th session. So I share my screen. It works here. So yes, now you should be able to see it, right? The presentation. So yeah, can you see it? Good. Okay. So this time in the case study session, I suggest, and also taking your feedback forms into account, I propose the topic basics and best practices about communication in community. And this is, of course, a large issue. Yeah, we will see how far we get today. And yeah, I think some of this will go in the next sessions as well. And yeah, as a case, I had chosen Dancing Rabbit Ecovillage in Missouri. And you had the chance to watch the interview that Cynthia did with this community, which is in the Finder program, of course, in the YouTube sample of these videos. Yeah, and then we have also a space for your cases. And I am at the moment at a community in southern Austria where I coach some people here. And I arrived today and stay till tomorrow. So you can have a look here. And I will maybe tell a bit about this place. It's a little farm community with just 3-4 families and some people living in mobile homes and the farmhouse and doing eco agriculture with goats and chickens. And this is also a nice example for a community that has developed over the years quite, on a low level, like with this place, because the owner was very open, the mother already of those who run it now. And she had even set up association. So it belongs to an association. It's really a community property also. And just a few people live here and some are guests. And so there is a nice mixture here. Yeah. And today, as we have this living example where I am right now, and the Dancing Rabbit in Missouri. So, and I would like to invite you more to also bring in your own questions and your own cases. So our schedule today is a bit that I won't speak so long in the beginning. And then we have 20 minutes breakout share, or we can also say 15 maybe. If we have now a small group today, we can do that shorter. Yeah. And we will indicate you also when you maybe 5 minutes each will tell, and then you have 5 minutes for exchange. I think this is a good time. Then we have 15 minutes breakout session. And then we can discuss more in the group here. And I have also prepared some more questions that we can go into also for you and with your cases. Good. So I think you know me already. You have been in the calls, just reminder. So I have prepared some advice how I observed in all these many cases I studied over the years like those communities who have a good community culture, who have a good organizational structure and successful community life, ownership over the years, what their essentials are to keep the communication in a good way. So I have, yeah, pointed this like really a very essence here on the slide, especially for, yeah, smaller groups also, and also for you as you are probably in the beginning phase to start a community. So how, if you have some people already who are interested, then you can practice these methods to dive a bit more into community and check how and if this fits together. Yeah, so these meeting structure elements, I call it, like if you meet together with these people and your mates, however, you can start with a round. Yeah, how do you feel? A brief round. Yeah, either start with a flashlight, how it works, how people feel. For instance, you can use the weather as a, yeah, relating, yeah, how people can express their feelings, like I feel like sunshine or I feel like rain or something. And or you start also with the silence, that people really can arrive and leave behind the previous things where they come from, and really tuning in together into the group. Yeah, and the large communities, they have this practice when they meet for organizational meetings, that they always have before that around new and good. So what is new and good? So that if you live together already or have projects together, you can, of course, tell about news that might also be relevant for the others, or you just tell from your life. So what is something that I experienced in the last time that really was uplifting for me. And if you share this in the group, then you really notice that the mood will really improve. This is my experience. Yeah. But then it's always also important to give space for, yeah, also problematic issues if there are. Just to give a space in case there is. Because as last time, as I explained, it's better to talk early about little things that might not fit so well for a person or so, that there is space to express this and clarify this very early before it becomes bigger and bigger, the problem and the misunderstanding or the conflict or whatever it is. So really starting to clarify this very early. Yeah, and if you do these points before you start with any kind of content in the meeting, like thinking about the vision or yeah, talking about organizational things or any kind of content, that really, really helps and brings together the group and strengthens the personal relationships in a way. So you get to know each other better, and that gives a base to build on. Yeah. And if you notice that, for instance, if you have a discussion in the group or talking on any kind of topic or whatever, and you have a free round just, and you notice, okay, this is always the same people are talking, or it goes very much in a discussion and people are interrupting each other, then you can say, okay, hold on. Now we have a talking stick round. And that really brings down and slow down the communication. And people will more speak from their heart. And also those who are more silent have the space to really express themselves, and have time for this, and no pressure. There's no pressure, and no one can interrupt them. Yeah. So I really recommend this as a community culture. These are very simple elements that you can use And of course, there is also more, information on that. Or if something here you haven't understood or you want to know more about it, please note it down and we can talk about it. Yeah. Or do you have a question or adding just right now, Kathleen?
Yeah, if that's okay. Hmm. I was wondering when you talked about people really sharing vulnerably, like if they have a talking stick. Um, my experience in one community when we shared like that was that people would often talk about their lives kind of separate from the community, like how their lives were like separately, but not how they felt like in the community, like their experience of the community. So I was kind of curious about what your experience has been with the talking stick circle about how to frame that for people and when people share, like if it's kind of a good idea to share both about your personal life but also your experience of community life, or like how to do that. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it depends on, I mean, what did you talk about before? Like here, for instance, I had this news and goods, or are there problems? I mean, the talking stick round is really a very good tool, I would say, but it's not the only one or not the tool that might fit for any kind of situation. And hmm, I wonder in your case, as far as I heard from you, if there is something that people avoid, maybe if there is a hot issue in the community that they don't want to touch, or if there is, yeah, a lack of attention for the community. And so they are more focused on their private life. And yeah,
yeah,
but mhm,
yeah, I can speak to that. Just that my experience in that community, it was a co-housing community, was that like the only space in the monthly meetings was that kind of basically talking stick circle time where just share about your life and what you want to share with the group, and that there wasn't like a culture of like there being a space, whether there or somewhere else, for you to really share about what your experience of community life was, like what it was like to live in that community, and if it was the joys and the challenges, so that was, so it did feel kind of avoided in that talking stick circle. Like you could talk about everything else going on, but not your joys or challenges of community life. Just wasn't the culture, like the practice.
mm, mhm.
Yeah. So for me, I
Okay.
felt like that was something lacking, like the space to
Yeah.
really address how it felt to be in community.
Yeah, but is there a community life in your community? Because last time, or pre-last time, I don't remember, it was we had a case where a woman live in a community and she also a co-housing project, and she was a bit disappointed that there was not much community life and that she actually regret and she has kind of, yeah, she's disappointed and finally draw drawback or I mean she's very now for herself just and give up to have given up to invest more in the community, and I wonder how, yeah, uh, yeah, so what kind of community life do you have, or is there something that you wish to have more community life? Maybe this needs to be brought in first then to talk about this, if there is a wish to have more community life, to talk about this. And I think then you would need to prepare such a meeting or yeah, or if you have a special question, maybe you can just ask this to the group to have like really very specific question and confront people with this.
Yeah, well, we used to live there, and we actually moved because of COVID, and so now we actually live in a different co-housing community that uh, maybe does better at addressing these kind of things, but then also, isn't as good about its business meetings. And the other community was really good about their business meetings. So,
Ah,
like
yeah.
everybody, can learn from each other, right? But also, I think the community we used to live in is doing. I've talked to people, and they're doing more now around conflict resolution, like early on. So I think they've also shifted since we were there. So I think they're learning and growing too as a community. So, yeah,
Uh-huh.
I think they're probably doing well. And but it was definitely when we were there. For me, I felt like an aspect that was lacking was that space to really talk about the challenges and the benefits and like the experience of being in the community, you know. So yeah,
Mm,
thank you.
okay. Yeah, sounds good. I mean, if you are in a situation where you missed something, then really maybe first you can reflect for yourself and ask questions to the community also. So what do you want to know? What is your wish and your needs? Or yeah, and be open with this and create a space where you can share this with the community. Yeah, this is maybe not always so easy, but maybe you can also first talk to individual people in the community where you have a better relationship with or more trustful and ask them how they feel about it. And if you are a small group, 2 or 3 or so people who then you can together create such a meeting and like these questions that you want to ask or ask for a bit of space in the regular meeting is maybe better because then the people are there anyway. Yeah, and do not need to show up to a special meeting. That's probably, yeah, you know what I mean, I guess. Yeah. Mhm. Good. Yeah, good luck with this. Yeah, so now I have more examples for also cultural
I
nonverbal tools.
I
Hmm.
have a question or an idea
Mhm.
here. Can I say
Okay. Here before,
it?
here. So, yeah,
And
good.
sticking to the first side also. I mean, from the practical point of view here for me now, I don't know, I'm not sure how we said we will structure now this meeting because we are not so many. I'm not sure, or
Yeah,
shall
you
I
can.
later?
Yeah, now we had a bit a specific case, but if you have a special questions about
Yes.
these, we can
Yes.
clarify it now. That's
Good.
easy. With
So
flexibility.
I
Please.
thought because in my case it would really be interesting and a possibility to do it like this, when you start a community and like you said, often there is things that has to be built, like the big space has to be built into tiny lofts, and it's not the community itself, but even earlier, when you work together with other people, like in my case, I will work with people, and the idea came now to use this possibility here for this group of people to work with, when you work with them, because for me, it's for example, I can't work with somebody that I don't like, that we don't vibe. So, and for me, we are all here like shaping a future, isn't it? And making new
Yeah,
things and
definitely.
making new things. So, and I'm completely, I go like this, I go with the flow and I see what is necessary to do. And now I see this thing and I thought, okay, this could be also usable for when you work with people, when you start doing it, already like people who are not maybe in this community thing, but they just will have
Sure.
to do the work.
Yeah, sure.
Isn't it?
This, you
Isn't
mean
it?
for a
Yes.
team, like for a team that works together, but not necessarily live to it. Sure, you can also use this
Not
method.
yet. Yes.
Means for instance, in Findhorn, in the community in Scotland, they have before every work shift also they do a tuning in and they do a visioning. So what needs to be done today and to bless this or yeah, you find your method, and to send good energy that this all will work well. And afterwards, they come together again, tuning in, and they will be grateful and thank for everything, like this kind of culture. And that really, really helps to bring people also in the same on the same page, in the same or same well in the mood that is really motivating and positive. That really helps. And here I listed some more methods or practices, or how do you want to call it, tools for building community. Yeah, and building community, as I said, community as a quality that also can be in working teams. Yeah, if you have a team, or if you work in a team that's maybe
It's
too
like
tolerant for these things.
yes, it's like
Yeah.
not, it's not like okay, you are here, you get paid, you have to work this and go. It's not what I want. I want that everybody feels good doing it, and that there is not a real connection. But
Maybe we can talk about this a bit later, what your specific intention is, right? And I introduce this method, and you can maybe imagine if this also fits for your context. And afterwards we can see if we adapt it a bit more, if there are more ideas how we can adapt it. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, these here non-verbal tools, cultural, I call it. Yeah, it's something that is not so just on the mind side, but on the creativity side and the intuition and the heart, emotional side, here to singing and dancing together. So there are so many, options and nice kinds of singing and dancing that you can use for creating community in a sense. And this can be very short in the beginning to a meeting, just have a tone, a om together. Yeah, this is the simplest thing you can do, that people find together a tone, a certain sound, and this creates coherence. Yeah, and this will have an effect on whatever you do together then. This is really something very basic that helps. But of course, it needs to be accepted in this group. That depends on your project, what you want to do. But if you, if you want to do that, then probably, just do it and dare it to do it. So, and then of course, like doing something together, cooking, hiking, gardening, something that, is, you can do that in the free time, and it's healthy and fun, and you combine this with community. If you go hiking together, people can talk also together, or you make a break at a certain, I don't know, a place where you stop and have a picnic or something, and then you can have a round like I introduced before or something. So you can always combine this with nice settings, doing something creative. Also, especially if you are in a visionary phase of the project where you want to bring people on the same page. So what is our idea? How we want to create this community project? Then you can do this also with painting and these kind of things, of course. So I really recommend these creative methods, and it always needs to be think about that every person has, of course, different abilities or what they like more or less. Some people sing, some others like to paint more. So of course but it's always nice to have a few of these tools on a very low level, so you can also use them spontaneously, for instance. Here the sharing round with talking sticks I have talked about already. And Yeah, I think for you also, Caitlin, your question before, like that people not necessarily talk about the community, maybe to find questions to bridge this. So we have used, for instance, very often the question, what are your experiences with family, with your family, where you come from? So was there community value? What did you experience there? What was nice and what did you miss? Or yeah, and then this is a very good thing to get to know each other, because a family, everyone had mother and father, so that's something that we all share, and we can share our experiences with our family where we grew up. Yeah. Yeah, and then sooner or later, I also recommend to really go a bit more into these questions. Where do you see your strength? And where are your trigger points in community? This is a bit advanced then, but yeah. So to really, yeah, push people a bit to learn about their points and like really communicate. It's normal that everyone have weak points and everyone should say something about it. So yeah, weak points, trigger points, or how you want to call it. Yeah, and also like learning issues. So that this is normal and that you talk about this as well from the beginning on. It's really recommendable because it will emerge sooner or later anyway. Yeah. And now I have prepared just a few slides about the Dancing Rabbit Ecovillage from the video also that maybe some of you have watched. And yeah, because this is a really large community that has many years of pre-founding phase of history to set up all this what they have created now, and also with different challenges. It's an eco-village, and I discovered also a lot of parallel with other eco-villages in this size. For instance, Siebelinden, where I lived in Germany, which is similar age and similar size, like these 100-something people, or 60 here with youth, and yeah, still growing. I think so they have this area here that consists of the houses, the community houses, and they have also several houses where they have, for instance, community food coming together and serving food. And then they have this pond and the agricultural land. So it's quite a large community. Here, the how is it called? The different community kitchens, yeah, where people can eat. There are even, you see, 4 or 5. That's really interesting that they have not just one large one, but different ones where they, people set up this and had their own style so far. And yeah, people can choose where they want to go eat and so on. And they have very strong values. So in terms of sustainability, but not just the outer sustainability with economic, ecological and social aspects, like we hear it from the UNO Charter and so on, like these goals we have for the municipalities and so on. But in this eco-village, they also say, okay, there is an inner sustainability. We need to start from inside, from our intentions, from our lifestyle, to express the sustainability in our lifestyle, in our daily life. So yeah, and then there is the social sustainability that they define as a feeling of interconnectedness. And it's the idea of this ecosystem where all the beings there, belong to each other, or they give and take from each other, and it's a very balanced system. And this is like a symbol also for the social community for them. And with this attitude, people have created the space and created also a quality of life here with different aspects here. And they have products, they grow, they have own food, and they have their stores where they sell these products as well. And in the area of energy, waste, recycling, water, food, transportation, heating, building methods and materials, they have quite developed a high level of sustainability. Here are more details about this. So they have car sharing pool, so there are no individual cars. They use also electric vehicles and these kind of things. They have space heating, cooling, refrigeration, heating, domestic water that is also more used for more buildings together. And of course they do ecological agriculture on the property and organic food production. They're using no biocides and chemical things in the entire area they have. Also in the private gardens, they agreed to not use anything. And so they produce their own electricity from solar panels on the roofs. And have also the rule that imported electricity also need to be generated in an ecological way. And they have a lot of composting and reusing goods, and they have like really, really very little amount of garbage. So here you see a survey where it is compared the average American's carbon footprint, like per person. Here it's 20 tons, in all these different areas, and an average dancing rabbit person just uses 9 tons, so that's less than the half. And you see here the area of travel is quite high, so people probably travel a lot also because of their jobs or whatever. Maybe in these eco-villages, they live more like highly educated people, and they travel also more in a way, not necessarily with their own car, but probably flights and so on, also internationally probably. And you see still food is also a large amount. That's really, I wonder why, because they have their own food, but maybe they're not living vegetarian, because vegetarian food reduces the carbon footprint for a lot. Do you have a question, Kathleen?
I just have a comment on the math because in the first example of the average American, travel says 14%, but it's 14% of 20 tons. And so for the dancing rabbit person, it's 26%, but because it's 26% of 9 tons, it seems like
less.
It's actually the same or maybe even less. And same thing with food, 21% of 9 tons versus 15% of 20 tons, I think is actually less carbon footprint on food than the average American.
Sure, that's absolutely less, but the amount in comparison to the other areas here, the travel is high. But thank you for emphasize this. And indeed, because we see here electricity is like really, really low. And it's of course percentage. You're right. Absolutely. So still the travel has a larger amount in comparison to electricity, for instance, or yeah, local transport is like really reduced a lot, and yeah, still travel is also reduced. So definitely. Yeah, but the amount has a bit changed, the percentages in comparison to the average American footprint, because electricity has much, much improved. Mhm. Yeah, so you see, community life and also living in shared houses can really improve the ecological lifestyle. Definitely. And my favorite topic, well, in terms of ecology, well, because I also lived many, and I still live with compost toilet. So if you have the chance to do that, and if you build a new building, that's really something where you can reduce your impact on nature. Because if you do not, yeah, do the poop into the water, that really, really helps, because the drinking water polluting with this, that's really, really a stupid thing, I think, in our culture. Of course, it has advantages, but yeah, there are more and more better systems of composting toilets. So yeah, it has improved over the years.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Compost toilets, that's completely practical question. So those people that you know that use already in cities compost toilets, do you know how the after work is done? Let's say it like this. Or is that they use them, is they use it for themselves then in the garden, or is there, what is there already existing?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, so in Ecovillage Linden, where we have 450 inhabitants plus 6,000 guests a year, using only compost toilets for now more than 25 years. So
Wow.
this poop will be collected in the forest. Yeah, I mean, everyone has to empty these buckets there on their own and bring it to a station. But there are also larger composting toilets in the seminar house that have really large tanks, like tanks in the cellar downstairs, and this can stay in there for 1 or 2 years, and it has the composting process already in these huge tanks, so you don't have to have the thing with emptying and this whole thing. So in a community with toilets that are used for many people, it's really a good option to do it this way. And in Siebenlinden, we have a combination. We have some of these tanks and also these smaller toilets that needs to be emptied individually. And that will be brought, is brought to the a place in the forest. And there it stays for several years. And then it has transformed into earth. And this earth is taken for the forest plantings for the trees. It's not used in the garden where vegetables are grown. That's illegal in Germany. I don't know if it's how as it is in the States, in the USA, but I assume it might be different.
Or worldwide, I mean, Australia.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very different, I think, here and there. In Germany, it's illegal. And I think it's okay because to be honest, I won't do it. I mean, others like Rudolf Steiner, they have also said it's not good to do that. You can use it in the forest for the tree plantings, or maybe for orchards. That's like a bit a hole in between, but not for the veggies that you directly eat. That's not good because
Hey.
Yeah, I don't
Hey.
know the
Thank
laws
you.
here in the US, but I do know that the people that I know here who do humanure, like yeah, nobody puts it on vegetables, and so it's like you said, maybe orchard trees once it's had a long time to compost, like a very long time, then maybe orchard or maybe forest, but yeah, not on the vegetables that you're growing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, good. I think it's a good compromise. So it still can be put somewhere and be compost in a way, and become earth. But yeah. And but I mean, here in this community in Austria, where I'm right now, in this little farm community, they also having compost toilets. And the municipality was so like, wow, insisting that they are not allowed to use this, and they had to have to have water toilets, and like that was. But finally, they even went to court, yeah. But the municipality couldn't couldn't yeah, forbid this for them, so they still do it, and it's okay. But it's always, if it depends also where you are, the municipality, the mayor you have. So sometimes it's better to not tell them and have, okay, we have 1 or 2 water toilets, but then also we have others, or maybe, yeah, to be practical about it. Depends on, yeah. But however, it's something that, yeah, can be implemented more flexible, or where you can start experimenting with, and yeah. Yeah, and in this Dancing Rabbit, they have the fortune to have hardly any restrictive building laws in Missouri there. And so they have like really nice experimental buildings here. This is a clay wood round building with a so-called reciprocal roof. You see the wood sticks there. They go, yeah, unfortunately, the picture does not belong to the round of the building, but there the sticks lay one over the other, and it stabilizes the roof. So that's very easy to build this with just a few people. And also, if you have not professional, people who can build houses or so, you can still do it to build such a house. Yeah, so there are also smaller buildings, larger buildings, and I think there they don't have the rule that limits the square meter per person, yeah, because this is the most influential point if you want to live ecologically, that you say, okay, I only have a certain amount of square meters per person. So that reduces, of course, the heating in a significant way. Yeah. Yeah, so how do you feel? Is there some more questions right now? Otherwise, I would suggest to, I mean, if we are only a small group, actually, what do you think, Lauren? I mean, we can stay in the group also, right?
Yeah, I think because there's just 2 people in the program, I think we could just stay in the main room and have it be interactive.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do this. So these are questions that I, formulated that might inspire you a bit, or yeah. So why and what kinds of communication do you think are important for community? And maybe you can also, bring examples from your cases or from your experiences, and what you think was really important for you, and what, you want to really see as an important culture in your group. Maybe we can start with this question, or you feel inspired by another one. Yeah, Natasha.
I feel like in the school now, oh, I have to answer the question and I don't have a clue. Like, no, I really don't have a clue. the first question, why and what kinds of communication do you think are important for community?
Mhm.
That would be my way. Yes, playing games, dancing, movement, like together. I think this is something, yes. But this is like more the introduction, like you said, like introduction but what kind of communication do you think are important? So a community that already exists, what kind of communication? But yes, things like that, like free hobbies doing together, like out of the life, like let's dance together, there are classes, and those things that open up then the people, I think that's
Like a
what I
more
would.
open setting. That's of course something that I did not mention explicitly, but it also sometimes it needs like really a free space where people just can come together and like a bit, yeah, like you said, like dancing, experience something together, so that there is more space that people can express their, yeah, how they would like to get in contact with others, to leave a bit more open. That's what's so important, to have this at a certain point sometimes, yeah. And sometimes it can help to have the structure with the talking stick or with the tone. So it needs a mixture, yeah, to have like this very free time, like just sitting together and talking like very openly. Just like, for instance, eating together and then, yeah, talking while eating or so. But at a certain point, it helps to have a structure to go deeper into topics, into questions. So what are actually our intentions together? Asking these questions and doing a talking stick with this so that everyone really says something about it. So yeah, this is what I recommend, and to have this mixture. Yeah. What do you think? Or you? Kathleen.
Yeah, no, I think what you said right now about mixture is what was coming to mind for me because I was thinking about like a balance between like there's the work to do in community and hopefully doing a lot of that together with other people, so you're working together, but also balancing that with like time where you're just like connecting and having fun or doing something together that's more relaxed and that you're not that your experience of spending time together is not only just working, but also working together is also feels good, you know? So like this balance there. And then in terms of like meetings and talking, kind of like, yeah, again, a balance between like in co-housing community, you have like this business that you need to operate together. So you kind of have like the business side, but also balancing that with this deeper talking connection side and both like I think having a balance there with like early talking about like conflict resolution and things when they come up, but also kind of like just connecting about the community and community life overall and deeply talking and sharing there. And I don't know, like our community we're in now, they had a retreat in the fall where there was time to kind of talk more about community life, where it wasn't like a conflict resolution time. It was more of a like where are our growing spots or individually and as a community. And you know, and so but then also so having time like that to connect in that way together, um and then balancing that with like just having dinners and just chatting about your life and having time to just talk
Yeah.
about things relaxed in a relaxed way.
And then
So
here they have men's group and women's group too.
yeah, we also have men's group and women's group, so it's a chance to really talk in a smaller group about get support and how things are going for you and connect more deeply. And yeah, that was
Oh yeah.
so.
Yeah, that's also very helpful. Definitely. And that even probably has also a positive effect on your relationship, right? Or all relationships in the community, I mean partnerships, and yeah, I assume my experience is definitely yeah, that's really, really good to see the community like as an organism. And yeah, with men, with women, and then there are inside this organism, there are families and couples and all these and people who are teams working together. And like this is like a network, right? You have there also a lot of different spaces for communicating. And yeah, this is so important. Do you know the Kogi? This is an indigenous people from Peru, I guess, in Peru. They came to Austria. They come to Austria actually every year, and it's so inspiring. And they talk about their community culture. They have a very strong community culture over centuries already and many, many generations. And they have the tradition to talk about everything. And the men, only the men, they come together every night and talk like 3 hours every night. Sit in a tent and talk about everything in the community.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that's like the men. That's funny.
What did women do?
And it's also
I'm gonna talk for 3 hours.
They talk about relationships, probably about, is there any kind of problem between two people, or is there something? They talk about it before it becomes a problem, And it's really, they are absolutely peaceful people. They have no violence and nothing. And I found this so interesting because like really this talking. And the women also talk a lot together, not necessarily like every night. in one tent all together, but they also have this talking a lot. And for instance, if a couple come together to marry, there are 9 days where the community comes together, like they're celebrating 9 days this marriage. And the first 4 days they talk about all the negative things and doubts and why these people are should not marry. 4 days. And then they talk 4 days just about the positive things, why these two people should marry and this is wonderful together. And the last day, they bring this into a balance and say, okay, how this is the overall, and say, okay, it's good if they marry and what could be their issues, so where they should work on or something. So that there is the problems and the positive things, and then they bring it together. And I think this is a good thing to have all this in mind, and like you said, also to balance this, like the left and the right brain side, and positive and negative aspects. And it doesn't mean that there needs to be negative aspects. This is not, but there should be space to think about it, to feel about it. Is there anything? There should be always a space for that. Because if there is a meeting where this cannot be expressed, then it really becomes a problem. So, so this is an example from an indigenous culture, and I think there are many others. And of course, indigenous people, we can learn a lot from them because they have, community culture still there over generations and ages. Like there's some much more still there. And on the other hand, it's always a question, like in our cultures, we have this individuality developed. This is also a value, and to bring this together. So I would not necessarily recommend just to copy the methods from from indigenous ancient cultures, but to be inspired from this and see, okay, we can try something about this and maybe apply or experiment with it, but also understand the core of it. Yeah, that's important, so that it's not, it's not abused or changed in the core. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we can also look into an indigenous culture case one time. Yeah, so do you have another example from your experiences or question? So Natasha, we actually
Yeah.
wanted to your working situation or project or what we wanted to look into this as well.
Thank you. Yes. So exactly. It came to my mind when I saw this, I just thought, hello, it's possible already to start there with this principle of, yes, like, okay, how shall we work together? How do you feel that we have already the connection? And for me, it's also because I want to include young people. That's a very important point for me. And then I think it's really a good access ansatz to do it like this.
Approach.
To do it already in the construction phase. Let's say it like this. To include it, to do it like this, and I'm doing it. It's like I will do it. So I will be a helping example for others. And I see it now, so I really think I will implement it. For example, concrete. I have this place that I'm renovating now in Spain and making it sustainable. That's why I asked for the toilet.
Okay.
Really concrete, yes. And
so you own it, or is it owned by?
No, this is mine. This is mine, and that's I will renovate it and sell it, and from the money that I sell, I will invest in projects. That's how it goes. But I'm doing it step by step. So now I learned this, and I see that I really will implement it, because also, like I said, I will take young people. I just for free, that they can learn, that's a very important goal for me. I don't know. I just want to that they can learn that there are other ways of living. And I have a Swiss construction worker who will come end of July with me to Spain. And then we will work together with Spanish and Swiss. And that's also great. There is already a collaboration, German, Swiss and Spanish workers together.
And they have probably a language issue then as well?
The Swiss guy, he told me, where I'm working on my construction, I have Portugal and Spanish people, and so it's okay for him. And he doesn't speak Spanish, only German.
So your issue or your question is also to bring them together in a team, right? Like for like they are in Spain in this place for
so that I make this like you like you have suggest here, to make it really like this, that we can, because like I said, I don't want, hey, you come, you work, like from 8 to 9.
But you start in the morning.
That.
You start with the round, like, how are you, and how do you feel, and like these things, you mean?
Yes, to
Mhm.
make it human.
Yeah, very
Mhm.
good. Yeah. Or also something practical. I mean, with workers, it depends on if they want to sing or dance. Well, I don't know, but maybe you can find something that they like to do. Yeah.
Yes, I will have to test it. But okay, I'm also intuitive enough, and I can also ask them in advance how they like it, and also with the young people. This time in this summer, that will be Spanish young people, and thank you. I think this is really good. It makes it, when you do something like the first time and you don't have so much examples or not at all, then a structure like this is extremely helpful. So I know, okay, I will do it like this. This is a structure. I can do it like this. It feels good for me.
Yeah, right. Also to try something, to experiment. So, and Kathleen, you want to say something?
I had a question for you, Iris. I was wondering about this idea of like a starting circle with how do you feel or singing or dancing or whatever it is to bring together. And I was wondering, I was curious because when you shared it, if it was in a group, in a community, and even you said when people started working or something, they would do that, like the way they would come together at the beginning of work. Um, I was curious about the dynamic of like of power dynamics of if in your example, if it was like in a group where there's like an equal power dynamic because everybody's a part of the group versus I'm imagining if you do it with workers who are being hired and paid and if it's like how do you feel today and I'm because I know like in co-housing there can be in my experience you just in there's power dynamics that can come up around like owners versus renters and just acknowledging
Yeah.
that hierarchy exists and then not that it's good or bad but just that it's there and it's present and then how you account for it when you're inviting space like in this example of how to do it with workers because I was just imagining if I was a worker it's like how are you feeling today and if I'm like oh this is my job that I'm getting paid for I'm doing great no matter what I'm just like wondering how people feel like when they're
Yeah.
so like and how to invite a space and support a space for them when there is it's not good or bad it just exists like a hierarchy that is present and exists.
Yeah, sure, you're right. But still, it can support and help. And also, of course, Natasha, in your case, also to be aware of your role. And if you are the person who owns the place and you hire the workers, sure, that's of course the precondition. And still, I think you can ask them, but then you are the facilitator for this meeting, of course. And you ask them, and of course, you should not push them. If they just say, yeah, I'm fine, then you need to accept this. You should not confront them too much because it's not, yeah, they need to have, yeah, or they need to, how can I formulate this? It should be okay that they want to keep things private. Yeah, that's definitely, I mean, in Findhorn, in the community, it was done in a way that there was a focalizer. I presented this when I presented Findhorn. I think it was it in March? I guess the session in March. In Findhorn, they have this focalizer, and the focalizer is responsible for the work shift. He organizes what needs to be done today, and he also is the facilitator for this meeting. So, and there's always a person responsible for this, and this can be shift always, like in a community where people are same like responsible. Yeah, but definitely
yeah, you're right. That needs to be, of course, aware if there is a hierarchy. Yeah, needs to be awareness. And especially, yeah, to also allow privacy, I would say. Yeah. Wow, and it's getting dark here, and I don't know where the light is actually. So it's a guest room where I'm here. Yeah, Natasha had to leave. Okay. Yeah. Good. Then maybe we close soon. And actually we wanted to ask about feedback also. So if you want to say something, Kathleen, like how you enjoy the sessions, or if there is a certain need or topic you want to see or to hear especially about.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy the sessions. For me, my challenge comes when like I'm able to prioritize the time to attend the sessions, but I haven't yet really figured out how to prioritize the time to do other work in addition to the sessions to move my project forward, you know? It's like so that's what I'm working on now on my personal project, is how to make space every week to do the homework needed to move things along on in my project. Because we have two young children, so we just are very busy. Um, and our specific interest, so whether or not it comes up as a topic for Community Founders Program, but we are very interested in an income sharing community. Um, so so that's a strong interest of mine, is like the nuts and bolts of income sharing communities and how they can work and what the impacts of those are, versus I think especially I'm kind of curious, like it seems like there's some really cool cooperative communities that seem to, like you shared Dancing Rabbit, or maybe what you had at Stephen Linden, that accomplish a lot of the same things as income sharing, and kind of like a comparison of like, well, if you could have like a worker owned cooperative community, but it's not income sharing, right? And you have an income sharing community, then what, like, what are the differences in like how it feels in the day to day life? Like, how does that show up as a difference in the results in both cons on both sides, you know? Um, and then the other topic that we're very interested in,
Yeah, that's very interesting, and I can talk a lot about it because just to let you know. Yeah, I write this down and I can take this on in one of the next calls. Yeah.
yeah, because I think we really want to start an income sharing community, and I think we are like set on that. But I'm like, oh, I can see how if like jumping that full level to income sharing is like too scary for some people, that like you could accomplish a lot of the same things like with a worker cooperative community without having to like take that extra leap. And so I personally am more interested in the leap, but I'm interested in both, I guess, you know, in terms of for people out there in the world, and getting the things that I really want out of income sharing, you can get a lot of from cooperative, is my impression without not knowing as much yet. And then the other topic that I'm really interested in, I don't know if you have any experience with this, but we want to do what we're calling like an umbrella group to start a community. So rather than saying, I want to start this one community and I'm looking for co-founders, we want to start a monthly meetup gathering to advertise and get interested people to gather to start income sharing communities, and then just in general in like a region. And then when people come, maybe they have different project ideas. And so you can like many different communities could start from it. And that way you have like a monthly like event that people can come, that's hosted, that then they can get plugged into the different communities. So you could um so I'm excited about that idea because I know of quite a few people around here in our region who might be interested in starting an income sharing community or joining one, but we might not all have the same image for our exact project or location. And so if we can start a group to draw in more people, then maybe we can get people can match up enough to have multiple groups of co-founders.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this is definitely a good idea.
So
And yeah, it's always a lot of work, but
totally.
depends on, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
cool. Yeah.
that
Yeah, we
topic,
can talk about this
yeah, because I
also.
know people who did that to start co-housing in the Seattle area in the 90s. So I'm going to talk to them about how they did it. But I've heard of other people who have done it that way too to start communities from. So yeah, in your studies, you've seen people start that way instead of
Yeah.
just one community on their own, just separate from everything else. You know? So
Yeah, right. And there are networks already you can use as a platform for finding
yes,
like-minded people and so on.
yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yeah. So
Cool.
those are our interests, my interests that I need to do, and then I just have to do the work.
Yeah, cool. I will take on that. And yeah, I think both of these topics we can, in one of the next sessions, they will have space to talk about.
Thanks.
Cool. Yeah, good. So I think we close now, huh?
Yeah.
Lauren? You are muted, Lauren.
Sorry about that. Yes.
And I have dark now.
Well, yeah. Well, thanks. Thank you, Iris, for a wonderful session. Next week, we have our guest workshop with Kelly Kresick from New Earth Development, and she'll be sharing about how to plan and fund a regenerative land project. And Caitlin, I don't know if you and Nathaniel filled out our evaluation form yet, but if you haven't, you did. Okay.
No, not yet. No, I haven't done any homework, like I said. So,
Okay, sorry. Yes. Yeah, the more feedback we get is helpful. We've only had a few people fill it out, so it's very helpful for us. So yeah. So yeah, that's it for our session. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah, thank you.
thanks for having us.
Yes.
Good inspiration. All the best for your community and so far.
Yeah.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Wait, just a second. How do you pronounce your name? Iris? Is it Iris?
In German, we say Iris.
Okay, because I
Iris.
just
Okay.
said Iris, and I was like,
It's
I don't
okay. You can say Iris. It's fine.
know. Okay, thanks.
And your name?
Caitlin.
Caitlin. Yeah, sorry. That was also not correct.
Oh, no, I
Caitlin.
didn't even notice. Okay, thanks.
Okay, nice day. And yeah,
Yes.
I will be in bed soon then.
Okay.
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 Bye bye.